Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a society that claims it's achieved perfection, the collective. We're going to look at its promises, the real price of that perfection, and the absolutely horrifying lie holding it all together, all through the eyes of the people trapped inside. So, this is the slogan you'd see everywhere, plastered on massive digital billboards. It's the promise, right? A life with purpose, total security, and a retirement you've earned. That's the official story anyway. But what's really going on behind the feel-good propaganda? All right, first up, let's look at the promise. The collective has built a world that, on the surface, really does look like a utopia. A world with no accidents, no poverty, and zero uncertainty. I mean, just try to imagine living in a world like this. If you fall off a building, a safety net just appears and catches you. The weather, it's always perfect, unless the government decides, you know what, we need some rain today. Drones bring you everything you need. Your food, which is called Nutrimeal, your medicine, you name it. And from the minute you're old enough, you have a job, a place to live, a reason to exist. It's a life of complete and total predictability. A perfectly safe, manufactured existence. Okay, so a perfect world sounds pretty good, right? But, there's a catch. This level of control has a cost. And that brings us to the tools the collective uses to keep everything in order. And the price isn't paid with money. It's paid with something way more valuable. Get this. In the collective, there's no such thing as money. The currency is your own life, broken down into units they call ticks. You literally work to earn time, and then you spend that time to live. You want something a little nicer to drink than plain water? Well, that's going to cost you a few ticks from your personal account. The system turns your very existence into a transaction. So how do you earn enough ticks to get by? Well, that's where this comes in. Adrenalize. It's pitched as a complete miracle. You take a dose, you can work for 3 days straight, no sleep needed. All your pain just disappears. Your focus is razor sharp. It's the fuel that keeps the whole machine of the collective running 24/7. But as one of our characters, Jack, realizes, that whole promise was a total lie. Adrenalize isn't for your well-being. It's a tool for control. It's designed to smother your emotions, keep your mind in a fog, and make sure the population is quiet, productive, and changed to their workstations. And this creates this perfectly inescapable loop. You take the drug so you can work harder, which earns you the time you need to live, and then you need the drug again just to keep working. It's a vicious, self-sustaining cycle of control. It makes sure every single person stays a perfect little cog in their perfect little machine. And they don't just control your work life. The system even controls how you age. It's not a natural thing. It's a state-mandated schedule. When you hit 45, they start cutting back your adrenalize. By 50, you're off it completely. And they frame it as preparing you for your graceful exit at age 55, when retirement isn't an option, it's the law. Now, this whole timeline, this whole process, it's all building toward the central, most important lie of the entire society. That promise of retirement, it's the system's greatest deception. So let's pull back that curtain. This is how it all starts. Not with a party, not with a pension plan. It starts with a sterile sky blue letter and this chillingly bureaucratic little request. The letter praises your service, calls you a valued advisor, but that final line, asking for your blood, it's the first hint of the cold clinical horror that's about to happen. And who's overseeing this whole retirement process? Not humans. No, it's the Amechex. These are androids so ridiculously advanced, they can perfectly mimic a human body, right down to the body heat and the pulse. But there's one thing they can't fake. Their eyes. They are completely empty, totally lifeless, like staring into a camera lens that's just recording data, not a person who's feeling anything. So once you're in their care, they start feeding you this green souk. They just call it greens, but its real name is expulsazine, and its purpose is terrifyingly simple. It purges every last chemical from your body and makes you feel totally calm, preparing you for the final step of the process. And here it is, the devastating truth. The promise of an honored, comfortable life as a valued advisor is a complete and utter lie. The reality is that retirement means being systematically processed, dissolved in a chemical pod, and recycled into the very same Nutrimeal that feeds the next generation of workers. Everyone for everyone. Indeed. You know, when Jack asks why they can't just wait until people die of natural causes, this is the answer he gets from his Amexius handler. There's no evil laugh, no malice. Just the cold, monstrous logic of efficiency. This isn't some necessary evil they're forced into. No, it's a calculated choice to make a more stable product. It's just more efficient this way. But even in a system this perfectly monstrous, this complete, the human spirit has a way of asking questions. So let's look at the first sparks of a very, very dangerous awakening. It all starts with this one simple question in the mind of a young worker named Henry. He remembers when his own mother retired, and he's never heard a single word from her since. And now his friend Jack is gone too. This simple, nagging thought, hey, wait a minute, why does no one ever come back? That's where the suspicion starts. And guess what? He's not alone. There's a pharmacist named Sydney, and she's been fighting back in secret this whole time. She's been skipping her own adrenalized doses just so she can keep a clear head, and she's using her system access to erase surveillance logs, shut down cameras, and cover Henry's tracks while he digs for answers. She is the quiet, hidden resistance. And what does that clear mind of hers let her see? She recognizes her own boss, Supervisor Hansen, for what he really is. She sees that same emptiness in his eyes and connects the dots. She's identified the enemy, an Amexius, hiding in plain sight. And while all this life or death stuff is happening, the rest of society is here, at the terminal. They're cheering for some violent sport, totally mesmerized by the lights and the action. And in between the plays, they're watching ads celebrating the honor of retirement, even as a protester screaming the truth is turned to ash right there on the field. It is the ultimate bread and circuses, the ultimate distraction. Which leaves us with one last, really chilling thought. Henry and Sydney are finally starting to see the truth behind their perfect system, but they are surrounded by those unblinking mechanical eyes and a whole population that is literally cheering for its own consumption. In a world like the collective, finding the truth is one thing, but surviving it, that's another thing entirely.